All right, hello, welcome to class. Today is going to be a review day and then taking a quiz. So if you just want to get out some pencil paper to review for the quiz, and kind of our first questions up here, this is just from the other day about enhanced for loops. All right, and so we want to use our enhanced for loop here. Like what would make sense to put there in the for loop with the blank is right there. Pause the video, give it a shot. What goes right here? All right, so this first one is out because you can't, this would try to change the number each time, like increase it by 1, and you can't change an array using an enhanced for loop. You could print it out, so I'll check that one for now, see if any of the other ones work. This one isn't, you don't have to do this step, and in fact, you're doing values, and the index would be these numbers, so you'd actually get array index out of bounds, especially when you hit something like 7. There is no value at position 7, so this one's not going to work at all. All right, and then again, you don't have to do the bracket part with an enhanced for loop, so this is not going to be right at all. So right answer is letter B here. Okay, so just try these questions on your own, pause the video, and then unpause to watch the solution. Okay, so number 1 is actually no. It's going to make 10 spots, so it's going to have an array. I'm not sure I'm going to draw this all out because it would take me a while here, but you're going to have 10 little spots here. And they're going to index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I missed it by 1. So it indexes 0 to 9, even though it has 10 slots. So here you're trying to access a 10th spot, but there isn't a 10th spot. There's only 0 to 9. So that will give you an array index out of bounds exception. So let's call it out of bounds. All right, it is beyond what is allowed, or what there is actually in the array. There is no 10th spot. Okay, so what is the value of each position? Okay, so I'm going to do an array here for the second one. And it's just got 4 spots, 0, 1, 2, 3. And initially it starts all of them at 0, right? So we could kind of put 0 in all of these initially, right? And then it's going to change positions 2 and 3. So this one will become 15, and this one will become 21. Okay, so the values will be 0, 0, 15, 21 at the end of this. We call that, and this I don't think actually works. I think we tried this in class. This will actually print a memory location. So we'd actually probably need to do a loop here that would print out each number in the array, the ith position or whatever, or do an enhanced for loop, one of the two. But anyways, it would be 0, 0, 15, 21 as if we were able to get it to display correctly. Okay, so 2 different ways to create an array. You can do it where you don't initialize the values, and that's different than if you do initialize it. So this is kind of tricky to remember. So I would try to remember this, and then if you can't, see if you can look it up. Find it in your notes or your code notes somewhere, but try it first for sure before unpausing. Okay, so when you do an array of doubles, I'm going to do the type. So I'm going to do double, just like I would do with a regular double, but then I got to do bracket to say I have an array of doubles. Okay, and then give it a name, whatever you want, values or whatever it is. Okay, and then you set it equal to, and then when you want it to be blank, you do new and then double array again. So you do double bracket, and then if you want 5 values, put 5 right there. And that would make an array with 5 doubles index 0 to 4, and they would all have 0.0 in them initially. Okay, so you got to use that new keyword here when you're doing it this way with no initial values. Okay, and then if you do want to do it initial values, it starts the same way. I'm going to start whatever my type is, string, bracket, square bracket, I guess I could call it, and I'm going to call it names or whatever you want to call it, and equals, and then you don't have to do the new keyword here, you just do a squiggle, and then you do them strings, one string at a time with a comma between them. So I do Larry, curly, comma, and then Mo, and then you don't need a comma on that last one. You just close the thing with a squiggle and then do a semicolon. Right, and so that creates an array with 3 different names in it, 3 different strings separated by a comma. Sorry if that's not super clear. Okay, what will be the values in this array at the end of the loop? Pause the video, give it a shot. Okay, so I'm just going to draw it out again, and I have 6 values. See if I can do this right. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it looks like I did it right for a change. I'm going to ask for a bonus this year. Okay, and they'll all be 0 initially, right? When you do this, they'll be 0. But then I'm going to start at position 1, and I'm going to change that value, and I'm going to set it equal to whatever I is that time times I. So basically, it looks like it's going to square these I positions, right? Because I is going to loop, right? We're going to access position 1, 2, 3, and position 1 is going to be 1 times 1. Position 2 is going to be 2 times 2. Position 3 times 3, because I is 3 at this point. So it's just going to square them all. Okay, and then the first one I believe is going to be 0 because it starts off at 0 and then we don't access it. Our loop starts at 1, so we never access the 0 position here. So it'll just stay 0, which I guess makes sense. So there you go. So that's what the array would look like by the end of it. Okay, pause the video, see if you can figure out what is wrong with this code. Okay, so the problem here, this is a real common mistake working with arrays and loops, is you're going to get an array index out of bounds exception, right? If I was to run this code. And the reason is the array has indexes available, right? If we label these go 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Those are the only indexes we have. The length is 4. But this code right here will start at 0 and go I less than or equal to length, right? So it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because it goes up 1 each time, all right? And so basically that makes this go past the allowable indexes. The last index is 3, so if we try to access a 4th position, it's going to be out of bounds. All right, so I would pause the video here, and if you haven't already figured this out, how could you fix this? If I want to sum the numbers, but I don't want to get an array index out of bounds. Okay, and so there's actually 2 different ways. One, you can do less than or equal to numbers dot length minus 1, so we go only to 3. Or the way I normally do is just go less than the length. Don't have the equal to here, just go less than. So if we say less than 4, I go 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's one of the more common things, just don't have the equals to there. Okay, so I'm going to start curving my test scores, and they certainly do this. In college, they do. But I want to find the highest score then, because that's going to be what I set my curve at. All right, so we want to write code to do this. I think we've done code before to find the min or max in an array, but now I want you to do it with an enhanced for loop. So pause the video and see if you can type out some of this code. Okay, and I'm going to do this in Eclipse because I hate typing it out the other way. I think it looks better in here. So you can do that too. If you always want to type stuff out instead of write it, that's okay. That's certainly fine. So I want to find the max value. So I'm going to make a double to track that. And I'm going to just set the max to be the first element. So I'm going to do scores position 0. Since I know I have a first element, that's what I'm going to set my max to. And then I'm going to loop I through all the other values. Well, actually, the enhanced for loop, I can't start here, can I? Enhanced for loop, you have to go all the way through. But it won't really matter, I guess. If I check this one against itself, that's not a big deal. But But anyway, so I have to go through all of them with enhanced for loop. So I'm just going to do 4, and then the type of variable that's in this array is a double. So I type double and give it a name, and I'm just going to call it a score. And I'm going to pull that from the array called scores, so that this score variable will take on one at a time: 94.5, 89.7, 85.2, 82.1, 97.8. All right, and what I want to do for that score is I want to say if that score is greater than our current max, it becomes the new max. So max equals that score. All right, so oops, this should be if. If score is greater than max, max becomes that new, whatever that score was. Okay, and then once you visited all the elements, then we know we found the max. So I'm just going to system out print the max, and that should be this last one, 97.8. Okay, and if we want to test this a little more, we could add one in here. Let's do 100.0. That person ruined the curve. Everybody hates this kid because they ruined the curve. But let's run it and see. Okay, we actually get a max of 100. So it seems to be working okay. All right, and that's again a enhanced for loop. Kind of clean, kind of neat. Once you get the used to them, again, you can't modify the elements and you have to go all the way through, but they're pretty nice. All right, last one for you. What would be displayed at the end of this code? All right, so this kind of talks about, actually first let's label the indexes, 0, 1, 2, 3. And so what happens here is in this second line, when you say friends is equal to names, right, it's going to point this friends array at the exact same spot in memory as names. So they're both pointing to the same array, so that if I set friends 0 to be friends 3, that's going to take Remy and overwrite Pip. So now we're going to have Remy in position 0 right here. And so even though I do now names position 0, that's going to be the same as friends position 0. So it's going to be Remy. Okay, and just to visualize this one more time, I'm going to load this in the Java visualizer. The answer is Remy, just so we're clear, but I want to load it in the visualizer because I think visualizing it helps make sense of what's going on. All right, so I'm going to visualize this. Hopefully it all fits. So as I step forward here, and you can see names is pointing to that array of names, and then I'm going to do friends, which points to the same spot, so that when I alter friends, I'm really also altering names, and Remy is just going to overwrite Pip. So Remy gets put in position 0, and then names position 0 is the same as friends position 0, which is Remy. So when that prints out, it just prints out, sorry, that's kind of hard to see there, but Remy. Okay, so this is just a visual, again, of what's happening. They're pointing to the same spot in memory, so they're really the same array. And if you ever want to use this visualizer, it's kind of neat. If you ever want to use it, just type like, I usually just search for Java Visualizer Waterloo. It's from the University of Waterloo or something like that. And then it's usually the first link right there. So it's kind of neat. Just type your code in here, put it inside of the main, and then you can watch it run. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.